Hi everybody, welcome to lecture number 13, Ether channel. We can say Ether channel or link aggregation or port channel interface. So there are different names available, but the concept is going to be the same. Now, what is Ether channel or link aggregation? In the previous lecture, we discussed about the redundancy. So redundancy means between two switches we can have more than one link, physical link. Okay, so you can have 2 links, 3 links, even 4 links you can have, so there is no restrictions in the between the switches. So once if you have more than one link, so automatically there is going to be a loop. Okay, between the switches there will be a loop. To avoid the loop, we used some protocol. The name of the protocol is called STP, Spanning Tree Protocol. If you use the spanning tree protocol is going to block the ports. It is going to block the ports. So there is a spanning tree algorithm available. So you can refer lecture number 12. So using the spanning tree algorithm, okay, or the spanning tree protocol is going to identify some ports and it will block the ports. So using that we can avoid the loops, okay, layer 2 loops we can avoid. But here what I am going to do means, okay, you can see the title slide. There are 3 links available here. If you use spanning tree protocol, in the spanning tree protocol, 2 of this port, okay, either here or here anywhere, fast Ethernet, okay, or gigabit Ethernet, anything, any of this interface will be blocked. Okay, only one link will be working. Now, suppose if any problem for this link means automatically it will select the another link, automatically it will unblock the port and the another link will be used. Now what we are going to do in this concept, in the Ether channel concept means I am going to use all the 3 I need. Why? I will give an example, okay, a simple example let me give. For example, so the first link, the bandwidth of this link, let it be 100 Mbps. So it is a 100 Mbps link. The another one, the second one is also 100 Mbps and third one is also 100 Mbps link. So now what I am going to do means, by using the Ether channel concept, I am going to have 3 links, each of 100 Mbps. Okay, and all these 3 things I am going to merge together and I am going to have a total bandwidth of 300 Mbps. Now you can see it is a controversy. If you see the previous lecture in the redundancy, we cannot do this. We cannot have 3 links, 4 links. That means the redundancy we cannot have. If we have redundancy, the spanning tree protocol will block it and it will allow only one link to be available. But here what I want, I need 3 links between these 2 switches. All the three links I want to combine together logically. Okay, and I want to use, that means I want to increase the bandwidth between this switch 1 and switch 2. So this concept is the Ether channel concept. So in the Ether channel concept, we can merge this, all these links we can merge together and we can consider it as a single link logically, and we have to inform this to the spanning tree protocol. So if you inform this to the spanning tree protocol, automatically your spanning tree protocol is not going to block. Okay, it is not going to block these ports. Now you can do this Ether channel, you can do in 2 ways. Either you can do it manually or you can use it by using some dynamic method. So once if you are going for the dynamic method, there will be some protocols. Okay, particularly there are 2 different protocols we are going to discuss here. So 2 different protocols available to manage this Ether channel, okay, in between the switches. And one more very important point, we can implement in the layer 3 also. That means between the routers also we can implement this concept, and also between the layer 3 switches. Okay, so Ether channel can be implemented in layer 2. Layer 2 means between the switches, in layer 3 between the routers, in layer 3 between the layer 3 switches. So we can use it any layer, that means layer 2 and layer 3. Now, so let me start with the Ether channel. Some cases if you want to increase the bandwidth, okay, in some scenarios, I want to increase the bandwidth, more bandwidth I need. So in that case, I can go for the redundancy. That means I can have 2 links, 3 links, okay, you can have it, okay, and you can have multiple links. Now, if you have multiple links between the switches or between the routers, so automatically you can increase the bandwidth. But spanning tree protocol, the spanning tree protocol is not going to allow it. So spanning tree protocol, it is going to block the redundant links. Okay, it is going to block a particular port and automatically the link will not be used. Okay, in order to avoid the loops. Okay, that is called the switching loops. But still we need, okay, I need the link aggregation. I'm going to aggregate the links in order to increase the bandwidth. So what we can do means we can inform this to the STP not to be blocked. So you can inform the spanning tree protocol not to block a particular port. Okay, by using some protocols we are going to see that. So this technology, it is called the ether channel technology. You can say ether channel, or you can say link aggregation, or you can say port channel interfaces. Now, so in the link aggregation technology, so what we are going to do means we are going to group multiple physical Ethernet links together. So that means logically we are going to make it. So I have 4 links, okay, between 2 switches, 4 links I am having, for example. So all these 4, physically it is 4, but logically I am going to convert this as a single logical link. Okay, so this is the ether channel concept. Now, so what is the use? Why we need this? Okay, the ether channel concept means, so this will provide lot of advantages. We are going to see some other slides what are all the advantages, but still you can see some points. Fault tolerance. Suppose if one link failed, means automatically the remaining 3 will be used. Okay, just assume I have 4 physical links between 2 switches. So each of 100 Mbps per second, Mbps. Okay, so logically 4 links I'm just combining together as 400 Mbps link. Suppose if one link is failed, okay, so we no need to worry, the remaining 300 Mbps of bandwidth will be used. Okay, it will be utilized. So this is the concept. So fault tolerance will be available, load sharing will be available, and you can increase the bandwidth, and also you can have the redundancy between the switches, routers and any servers. So already we discussed this. In layer 2 also you can have the ether channel concept, or in the layer 3 also you can have the ether channel concept. Now, so the ether channel technology, so basically what it is going to do, it is going to combine the physical links between the switches or between the routers or between the layer 3 switches in order to increase the overall speed. Okay, the overall speed will be increased between a switch to a switch, between a router to router, between a layer 3 switch to a layer 3 switch communication. So this is okay about all about the ether channel concept. Now, so we are having an example here. So there are 2 switches, there are 3 physical links, okay, 3 physical links available between these 2 switches. So all these 3, okay, I am going to combine together and I am going to make, logically we are going to make it as a single logical link. Okay, so that is the ether channel concept. Now, this ether channel, so already we discussed so many points. So you can see there is another example here. Okay, so these are the physical links. So these physical links you can combine together. Okay, so any interface, fast Ethernet interface, fast Ethernet, or it could be a gigabit Ethernet. So any type of ports. Okay, it doesn't matter, any type of ports you can combine together. So that is the, you can say different names. Okay, I already in the introduction part I gave you 3 different names. Okay, ether channel, link aggregation, port channel interface or port channel. So it is going to be, everything is going to be the same. Okay, port channel interface. So this is a small introduction, okay, about ether channel. So the next slide is advantages of ether channel. So what are the advantages available? So before seeing the points here, so let me summarize the thing. So the main advantage of ether channel is, the first thing is the redundancy. Okay, suppose if any problem in a particular link, automatically you can use another link. So redundancy will be available. The second major advantage is you can increase the bandwidth. Okay, that means the load balancing. So load balancing is a very important concept here. So you will be having load balancing by using the ether channel concept. So this is the second major advantage. Then the third important thing, the third advantage of using the ether channel is, it is a fault tolerant. Okay, fault tolerance, or we can say it is a network performance. We can increase the performance of your network. Okay, so these are all the major advantages of ether channel. Okay, now so let us see what are the advantages of ether channel here. So most configuration tasks can be done on the ether channel interface. Okay, you are going to do all the configurations only in the ether channel interface instead of on each individual ports. Okay, so instead of doing on the individual ports, so the configuration will be done on the ether channel interface. In the lab part, we are going to discuss about it. Okay, how to do the configuration. Okay, the ether channel configuration we are going to discuss in the lab part. Now, ether channel lies on the existing switch ports. So whatever the ports you are having, so your switch may have 4 ports, 8 ports, 16 ports, 32 ports. Okay, so whatever it is, so whatever the ports it is having. Okay, so you no need to do any upgrading. Okay, any changes, you no need to increase the speed, nothing. Whatever the existing switch ports available, you can do the ether channel concept. Okay, you can configure the ether channel on the existing ports. So load balancing takes place between the links that are the part of the same Ethernet. So this is a very important thing. So automatically there will be a load balancing. So that means a particular link will not be used heavily. Automatically your ether channel will distribute the load, okay, on the existing links. Then creates an aggregation that has seen as a single logical link. So this already we discussed in the introduction part. So you can have any number of physical links, but okay, it will be considered as a single logical link. Now, the next one, there are several Ethernet bundles exist between the two switches. So you can have more than one Ethernet channel also, okay, between the two switches. But your STP, that means the spanning tree protocol, may block one of the bundle to prevent the switching loops. So now you have to understand the concept. So in the previous redundancy concept, without using the ether channel, you will be having 2 links, means one link will be blocked by the spanning tree protocol. But now I am going to have Ethernet bundles, Ethernet channels. Okay, that means ether channel I am going to have more than one. Okay, 2 or 3 or 4 ether channel I am going to have between the two switches. So in that case, any one of the ether channel will be blocked in order to avoid the loops. Okay, so this is the concept. So spanning tree protocol, it will block one of the redundant links. It blocks the entire ether channel, and this blocks all the ports belonging to that particular ether channel link. So between the ether channel, if you are having more than one ether channel and there is existing a loop, means automatically your spanning tree protocol is going to block. Okay, it is going to block the ether channel links. So only one ether channel, all the links in the ether channel are active. Okay, so because STP uses only one, okay, that is a logical link. So ether channel, it provides redundancy. Overall link is seen as a one logical connection. Loss of one physical link within the channel does not create any change in the topology. So it is not going to affect if any change in one physical link. So 3 physical links, I made it into one logical link. Okay, for example, I am telling 3 physical links, I am converting into one logical link. Suppose if any problem in one physical link, means it is not going to be, it's not going to create any problem for your topology. Okay, only the bandwidth will be reduced. Okay, only the bandwidth will be reduced. So it's not going to make any change for your topology diagram. Okay, so these are all the advantages of ether channel. So the next topic is implementation restrictions. So there are some restrictions available to configure the Ether channel. Okay, so we can say some rules. Okay, we have to follow the rules. Okay, so if you want to implement the Ether channel in your topology, so you cannot do as you like. Okay, so there are some restrictions available. So what are the restrictions? Okay, we are going to discuss in this slide. Okay, the first thing is interface types cannot be mixed. Okay, this is a very important thing. So if you are having the fast Ethernet, okay, and gigabit Ethernet, so you can have the Ether channel between only in the fast Ethernet interface or fast Ethernet ports. So if you have gigabit, it should be only gigabit. So that means you cannot mix within a single Ether channel, you cannot mix the fast Ethernet ports and gigabit Ethernet ports. Okay, you cannot mix. So this is the first restriction. So the second restriction is, okay, how many ports you can have, maximum how many ports you can have, okay, in a Ether channel. So it differs. Okay, it is going to differ based on the Cisco switches. Okay, so in general you can have up to 8, okay, compatibly configured Ethernet ports. Okay, so you can have maximum of 8, but if you see the last point in 2960, okay, Cisco Catalyst 2960 layer 2 switches, it supports only maximum up to 6 Ether channels. So depending upon the series, okay, depending upon the series of switches, okay, the number is going to change. Okay, there is some restriction. That means we cannot have any number of ports you can have in a Ether channel. Okay, so there is a limit available. Then Ether channel provides maximum. Okay, that means the full duplex bandwidth up to 800 Mbps in the fast Ethernet channels. And if you are going for the gigabit Ether channels, so the maximum speed is going to be 8 gigabits per second. So in gigabit ports, suppose if you are having gigabit ports, so the speed is going to be different. So maximum up to 8 gigabits Gbps. If you are going for the fast Ethernet means, so up to maximum 800 Mbps is a maximum bandwidth, that means the Ether channel can support. Now we have some more restrictions also. Okay, the individual Ether channel group member port configuration must be consistent on both the devices. So that means whatever the configurations you are doing in the first device, switch 1, switch 2. So here I am taking 3 ports and the second switch I am taking 3 ports. So whatever the configurations you are doing in the first switch, the same configuration you have to do it in the other end. So both the devices must have the same, okay, configuration. Okay, it should have the same configuration. So in order to maintain the consistency, then if the physical ports of the one side are configured as a trunk, so automatically the other side also it should be configured as a trunk. So this is what we discussed in the previous point. The same type of configuration you have to do it in both the ends, that means in both the devices. Then all the ports in the Ether channel link must be configured as the layer 2 ports. So this is very common. Okay, all the ports in the Ether channel link must be configured as a layer 2 ports. Then each Ether channel has a logical channel interface, port channel interface. A configuration applied to the port channel interface affects all the physical interfaces that are assigned to that particular interface. So if you just make a small change, automatically all the physical interfaces or the physical ports, okay, which is a part of that particular Ether channel, okay, automatically it applies. Okay, whatever the changes you are doing, so it is automatically applied to all the interfaces. Okay, so these are all the limitations, sorry, not limitations, I can say it is the restrictions. Okay, so these are all the restrictions that Ether channel is having. Ether channel auto negotiation protocols. If you see Ether channel, we can create in 2 different ways. So the first one is a static method. Okay, static method, or we can say it is a manual method. So in the manual method, the administrator will do all the configurations to create Ether channel. The second method is a dynamic method. So in the dynamic method, we are going to use some protocols. So the protocols we can use to create the Ether channel, okay, automatically. So if you see the protocols, what are the 2 different protocols means? So the first protocol is port aggregation protocol. that is the PACP protocol, and the second protocol is Link Aggregation Control Protocol, LACP protocol. So these are the two major protocols which are used for creating the Ether channel. So about these protocols we are going to discuss in the coming slides. Now let me go for the first protocol, which is the PACP protocol. So PACP protocol, it is a Cisco proprietary protocol. It is developed by the Cisco itself. So this is used for automatic creation of Ether channel links. So if you see this PACP protocol, it is going to use some packets. Okay, so the name of the packet is called PACP packets. So these packets will be sent between the Ether channel ports, okay, between two devices, suppose between two switches. If you are creating the Ether channel means, so if you just configure, if you enable this PACP, it is enough. So the PACP packets will be sent between the Ether channel capable ports to negotiate and to form the channel. So PACP, that means these packets, it is going to identify the matched Ethernet links. We already discussed that, okay, the speed of the link, okay, must be matched. So it is going to identify the matched Ethernet links and it is going to group it into a Ether channel. Then the Ether channel is then added to the spanning tree as a single port. So this also we already discussed in the beginning. If you are having more than one Ether channel between two devices means, so your spanning tree protocol will block one Ether channel. So only one is going to be working. So also the PACP, it is going to manage, it is going to manage the Ether channel between the devices. And these PACP packets will be sent or it will be exchanged every 30 seconds. Okay, so in order to, it's like a keep alive protocol, okay, a keep alive protocol or keep alive packets. So the PACP packets will be sent every 30 seconds. Now, so PACP checks for the configuration consistency. So that means the configuration both the sides, that means both the sides of your Ether channel, the configuration should be same. Okay, so it is going to check the configuration consistency and managing the link additions, failures, okay, everything. It is going to manage automatically. Suppose if any link failed, if any new link is added, so everything will be managed dynamically by using the protocol, PACP protocols. So it is also going to ensure when a Ether channel is created, all the ports have the same type of configuration. We already discussed this. Then note, in Ether channel, it is mandatory, it is important that all the ports have the same speed, duplex settings and also the VLAN information. So this will be checked by the PACP. Okay, all the ports in a Ether channel must have the same speed. So the duplex settings, so full duplex means all the ports should be in the full duplex and also the VLAN information. So any port modification after the creation of the Ether channel also changes to all the other channel ports. So if you do any minor changes, automatically the PACP is going to do it for all the ports. Okay, so PACP, it is going to be a dynamic one, so automatically it is going to take care of your Ether channel operation. Now if you take this PACP, it is going to have three different modes. Okay, it is going to work in three different modes. Okay, so that means the first mode is called the on mode, second one PACP desirable, third one is the PACP auto. Okay, so on mode means, so this mode forces the interface to channel without the PACP. So that means interfaces configured in the on mode do not exchange the PACP packets. So this is a very important. We are going to see a table, okay, a comparison. So if a node, okay, or if a port is configured, if an interface is configured in a on mode means, so they do not exchange any PACP packets. So this is the first mode. Second mode is PACP desirable. So what is desirable means? So if you are configuring a particular interface in the PACP desirable mode means, so it is going to have a active negotiation state. So in which the interface will initiate the negotiation. It will start the negotiation with the other interface by sending the PACP packets. So in the on mode does not exchange the PACP, okay, PACP packets, but whereas in the PACP desirable, it is going to initiate the negotiation and also by sending the PACP packets. Then PACP auto mode. So in this mode, so if you put an interface in this mode, means in a passive negotiating state in which the interface responds to the PACP packets. So if it is receiving a PACP packet, it will give the response, okay, that they received, but does not initiate any PACP negotiation. Okay, so these are the three different modes available. So modes of PACP. So on mode, desirable mode, auto mode. So in on mode does not exchange any PACP packets. In the PACP desirable, it is going to initiate the negotiation, okay, so with the other interface by sending the PACP packets. So if it is in the auto means, so PACP packets, whatever the PACP packets it receives, it is going to give the response, but it is not going to initiate any negotiation. Okay, so these are the three different modes. Now you can see we are going to take two switches, switch 1 and switch 2. So here we have some ports, okay, for example fast Ethernet 0/0, fast Ethernet 0/1, and here the same thing, fast Ethernet 0/0, fast Ethernet 0/1. So now suppose if you have different modes, okay, you can see the table. So on mode, desirable mode and auto mode. So these are the three different modes available. So we can have different configuration, okay, sorry, different combinations. So for example, so the first, okay, that means the port 1 here, it is going to be in on, and also here it is going to be in the on, means you can establish, okay, a channel. That means either channel will be created. Then so here on, desirable or auto. So in that case, okay, the channel establishment, it is no. So if both the ports are in the desirable, okay, so you can have a either channel. A desirable auto, you can have, okay, a ether channel. Auto and desirable, you can have the ether channel. Auto you cannot have. So the no, if you just note down the no, okay, that means on mode plus the other side, if it is desirable and auto, you cannot create the ether channel. Okay, the same thing it is, okay, you can see here auto means you cannot, okay, you cannot create the ether channel. So these are the different modes available. So for the different modes, okay, how the ether channel is working in a PACP, okay, PACP protocol. So this is about the PACP operation. So now we are going for the next protocol. The next protocol is the LACP protocol. So let us see how this LACP protocol is going to work. The second protocol is LACP. So that means Link Aggregation Control Protocol. So this is not a Cisco proprietary protocol. So this protocol is developed based on the IEEE specification. And what is the purpose of this protocol means? So to bundle the ports, physical ports you can bundle and you can form a single logical channel. So here LACP allows a switch to negotiate an automatic bundles by sending the LACP packets to the other switches. So in the previous, okay, we saw that, okay, a different packets is used here, okay, was used there, but here we are going to use a LACP packets. So the concept is same, okay, the concept is same. So LACP, it is going to provide the same negotiation benefits as PAGP, but this is developed based on the IEEE specification, but PAGP is a Cisco proprietary protocol. So in a Cisco device, you can have both. You can have, okay, that means LACP also, it will work in the Cisco devices, and also the PAGP is also going to work in the Cisco devices. So the concept is, so physical devices, I mean the physical ports will be combined together into a single bundle, okay, or it will be converted into a single logical channels, okay. So here we are using the LACP packets we are using. Now if you see the modes, so here we are having the three modes. So here LACP on mode, LACP active mode and LACP passive mode. So there are three different modes available here. Okay, now on mode. So if a particular port or an interface is in the on mode means, okay, so this interface configured in the on mode do not exchange the LACP packet. So this is what we discussed in the previous one. So in PACP also the same thing. If it is in the on mode, okay, it does not exchange any packets. Then active mode. So active mode means it is going to negotiate. So that means the negotiate state, it is going to initiate the packets, negotiation packet. That means it is going to start the negotiation by sending the LACP packets. So passive mode. So if it is passive mode means, so here it responds to the LACP packets that receives but does not initiate any LACP packet negotiation. So almost the same thing, the concept is going to be same thing, but the names is simply okay, some small changes in the name. Now we can see a comparison, a table you are having. So the same thing, you have to see when you cannot establish a channel. Okay, either channel cannot be established when if it is in a on mode and active and or passive mode. The same thing here, passive. Okay, there it is auto. Okay, it is auto. Here they are giving the name as the passive. So the names are changing, but the concept is almost same. So here different modes, there are 3 modes available. So the combination should be properly configured. Okay, if it is in the on mode and odd mode, automatically the ether channel can be created. Okay, for example, this particular port, if it is in the on mode and here it is in the on mode, okay, you can create a ether channel. Suppose okay, on and active or passive means you cannot establish a ether channel. Okay, so this is the difference between the LACP and the, okay, if you ask me, I cannot say any major difference between these two, okay, other than the developers. Okay, so this is about the 2 different protocols, okay, PACP and LACP protocols. So the next topic is configuration guidelines. Okay, so what you have to follow if you want to configure the ether channel. So what you have to configure, okay, what you have to follow. Okay, so there are some guidelines available for the next 2 slides. Okay, 2 or 3 slides I think we are going to discuss about this guidelines. It is a theoretical one. Okay, now the following guidelines and restrictions are useful for configuring the ether channel. Okay, so what are the guidelines means? The first thing is ether channel support. So what does ether channel support means? All Ethernet interface must support the ether channel with no requirement that the interface be physically contiguous. So that means your physical, that means the ether interface must support the ether channel. Okay, and also it should be physically a contiguous one, it should be a continuous one. Then the speed and the duplex. So this also we already discussed. Configure all the interfaces in an ether channel to operate at the same speed. It should be in the same speed and also it should be in the same duplex mode. Then VLAN match. So they should be in the same VLAN. Okay, if you are having a different VLANs, automatically there will be some issues available and you have to go for the trunking and all, you have to do it. So range of VLANs. Okay, this is also an important concept. An ether channel support the same allowed range of VLANs on all the interfaces in a trunking ether channel. So if your allowed range of VLANs is not the same, the interface do not form a ether channel even when they are set to auto or desirable mode. So it should be in the range, acceptable range. Okay, so if it is not available in the acceptable range, it is not going to be, the ether channel will not be created. Now, so we are having an example here. So you can see the example here. So ether channel between 2 switches. So S1, S2, switch 1, switch 2, port configuration. If you see the port configuration here 1 Gbps, in the second switch also 1 Gbps. So duplex, full duplex, VLAN 10, VLAN 10. So both the configurations are matching, okay, in S1 and S2. So automatically you can create the ether channel. Suppose if there is any mismatch in this, okay, you cannot create the ether channel. Okay, so this is all about the ether channel. So thank you very much. Keep watching.